Hello and welcome to the Pretty Good Gaming Daily Triple. That's your no shit gaming news video. 3 news stories in one video with 0 faff. When Gotham Knights was announced by WB Games at the weekend, it was met with a mixed response by some fans, including me. The idea of playing as Batgirl, Nightwing, Robin, and Red Hood in a world without Batman as they fight to stop the Court of Owls is a winning premise, but there were worries that it would be just another Games as a Service title. Fortunately, according to 2 of the key developers, that is definitely not the case. Creative director Patrick Redding and senior producer Fleur Marty spoke with IGN about some of the biggest questions following the game's reveal. A link to the full interview is in the description below, so be sure to check that out to know more, as I'm only going to be picking out a few key parts. When asked if Gotham Knights was a game as a service, Fleur Marty said, "This is very much not designed as a game as a service. There is an ability tree which is different for each of the characters, and then there is gear that you can craft, and so choices that you're going to be making. But that does not mean this is a game as a service." This is great news as it alleviates many of my fears, but we do all know how quickly these things can change in game development, and things that were promised often turn out to be false. Still, this is a very good sign and has me much more excited about playing the game next year. As I said in Monday's video on the topic, most of my trepidation came from assumptions about the game because we've seen so many games adopt the RPG formula only to add a shit ton of microtransaction junk and grinding. That could still very much be the case when the game launches, but now the devs are on record explicitly saying it's not games as a service, so I'm gonna hold them to that. Gotham Knights is meant to be a self-contained story and can even be played offline, which is a godsend in modern gaming, and you won't be forced into playing with other people if you don't want to. That said, the devs did add that there is room for growth in the Gotham Knights universe, suggesting that DLC or expansions may be an option. Throughout the article, they touched on different aspects of the game's gear system. When asked about gear pieces and cosmetics, Patrick Redding said, "When we talk about gear, we're talking about your melee weapon, your ranged weapon, and your suit, which has certain armor characteristics. And then there's your suit style, that's the sort of skinning of the suit. Because we didn't want to turn it into just a random crazy quilt, what we've done is we've got distinct suit looks. And then within that, there's accessory variation that the player can tap into, and that way you get a chance to tweak it and make it exactly the way you like it. This means that you'll have 3 categories of gear: your melee weapon like Robin's staff or Nightwing's batons, ranged weapons like Batarangs or Red Hood's pistols, and the suit itself as a whole. Gear customization is all well and good in theory, as it gives you a lot of control over how you want your character to play, but this can come with fears of the game being grindy to artificially extend the playtime. However, apparently that's not going to be a problem when it comes to level gating in the game's fully open world. It's true that as you're getting more powerful in your progression, you're going to see a sliding scale in terms of not just the level of the enemies, but even some of the types of enemies that you're going to be coming up against. But it's not a grind. It's not a situation where you'll say, "Oh god, I have to go and grind this type of mission in order to level up to this, and then I can get to this." I think it's pretty safe to assume that there will be at least some amount of grinding, because games with a gear system usually involve this to an extent, but this implies that your progress won't be brought to a screeching halt by an enemy that's got a too high level. All 4 characters will play differently, but within that you'll be able to create specific builds to play to their strengths. However, you can play the whole game as just one character if you want to, and play it entirely solo. So if after playing the Batman Arkham games you want to give Robin his time in the sun, you can do that and just play the game entirely as Robin in a solo adventure. That is music to my ears, so long as each character is fully fleshed out and stands out on their own. Additionally, if you want to play in co-op, 2 players can actually play as the same character at the same time, so you won't be forced out of playing as your favourite knight just because your partner has already selected them. I'm really glad that the devs have actually come out and addressed so many of these concerns so shortly after revealing the game, and it has softened a lot of my fears about it. This Q&A certainly got me much more excited about the game, and if my fears do turn out to be true, then at least we have someone to point the finger at. Now just let me turn off those bloody damage numbers and I'm all set to jump into that Red Hood mask. And next up, Fall Guys has taken the world by storm in recent weeks and doesn't seem to be slowing down. The gameplay itself is very simple and is a mix of game shows like Takeshi's Castle or Total Wipeout, and involves the player competing against 59 other players in a series of obstacle course challenges. Echoing what happened with Rocket League in 2015, Fall Guys launched as part of Sony's PlayStation Plus subscription, meaning that subscribers could download the game for free instead of the full $15.99 price tag. This has been a huge boost for the game and has now become the most downloaded PS Plus game of all all time globally. According to publisher Devolver Digital, the game has also shifted 7 million copies on Steam. That is truly outstanding for just an indie game. The game was so popular, in fact, that for a while no one could even play it, as developer Mediatonic struggled to keep up with the demand and servers kept failing. The game has all the right parts to be a huge success. It does have additional monetization in the form of cosmetics, which is very frustrating to see in a full-priced game, but you do earn plenty of in-game currency very quickly just by playing. In that regard, it does feel like the game should be free to play, and I feel like it may end up going that way eventually. The characters in Fall Guys are all unoffensive blends of Mr. Blobby and Jelly Beans, which can be easily reskinned to look like pretty much anything else. The game is so non-threatening and easy to understand that anyone of any skill level can pick it up, from regular gamers to kids to their grandmas. Even kid-friendly games like Fortnite still have a degree of violence built into the gameplay, but the closest parallel in Fall Guys is the ability to grab people, which in my experience ends up hurting me more than it ever hurts them. Combine that with a very simple control scheme and clear objectives, then you're onto a winner. On top of that, the social media manager for the game is doing an excellent job of keeping the game relevant, and unlike so many other social media accounts, actually seems to understand gamer culture and the internet. Whenever corporations try to use memes on Twitter, it makes me sick, but the Fall Guys community manager actually knows what's up. I've played a few rounds myself, and it's absolutely an easy game that anyone can pick up and play, but my god can it be frustrating. That's by no means a bad thing in the case of this game. However, I am yet to feel the sweet victory of claiming a crown. I came very close once, mere whiskers away from glory, but it all slipped through my fat fingers as I felt cascading despair that only a crown can relieve. The major thing that the game is missing in my opinion is local multiplayer. At the time of recording, the game can only be played online in 60-player battle royale matches, but if you could play locally with friends, Fall Guys would be the perfect party game. The devs have said that they're looking into local multiplayer, so hopefully that's going to come sometime soon. Have you played Fall Guys, and are you even lucky enough to have actually won yet? Don't lie. And finally, Call of Duty Black Ops has now been officially revealed with a new trailer, and, well, it looks like Call of Duty. The trailer seems to suggest that its story will span across multiple decades, as both 1968 and 1981 are shown. In 1968, as Creedence Clearwater Revival's Run Through the Jungle plays, we see some very brief snippets of gameplay set during the Vietnam War. Then it cuts to 1981, punctuated by New Order's Blue Monday, and seems to feature more espionage than we've ever seen in a Call of Duty game. The trailer prominently features former US President Ronald Reagan from real-world news footage, but also a CG recreation of the man. Some familiar characters from previous Black Ops games seem to make an appearance too. According to the video description, in a gripping single-player campaign, players will descend into the dark center of a global conspiracy alongside iconic characters Woods, Mason, and Hudson, as well as a new cast of operatives to stop a plot decades in the making. After the censorship of the initial trailer, let's see how well they handle a story set during a time when political censorship became more prevalent than ever before. But of course, Call of Duty is best known for its multiplayer modes, and that will officially be revealed on the 9th of September. However, it came to my attention while editing this that the current gen versions of this game will cost $59.99, which is already well above industry standard price in the UK, while the next gen version will cost you a $5 more at $64.99. We saw the start of this bullshit happen with NBA 2K21, so it's really no surprise it's happening again. Compare that to Microsoft, which is running its smart delivery initiative at no additional cost to the player for various game upgrades, and you can really see how ridiculous this is. How can any player realistically justify this? Obviously the Activision execs can, because £5 on top of every game sale will add up to a whole new yacht. Take into account that this game is releasing in a year where some people are struggling for money more than ever before, right in the midst of a pandemic, and it becomes all the more disgusting. And that's it for today. If you like this no shit format, go ahead and give the video a like to give it a boost, hit subscribe and the bell to stay notified about all future installments. Toss a coin to your YouTuber over at patreon.com/prettygoodgaming. I've been Henry Cooper. That's all for today. Bye for now.